beautiful. Thank you,
Very
Janelle.
good morning, Ahhleeyah. Ahhleeyah, Grace, in fact, I've just found out is your name. Firstly, I'd love to introduce you as that beautiful resonance of that sound of the name, but I'd love to know how you got that name.
Hello, Janelle. Yes, I've now had the name Ahhleeyah Grace for almost a year. And it was about this time last year when I was preparing for my retreat in the Grampians in Victoria, Australia, that the name came through to me really clearly. And I was guided to drum my old name out with honour and respect, and to drum the new name into being.
Fabulous. So you actually literally drummed it? Are we talking literally?
Yes.
Wow. Tell us what that looked and sounded like.
I just went with it, Janelle. I just drummed the new name in. And then I also had a soul song that came through earlier that year, and I sang that song as an honouring of the new name. And the soul song actually resonates with the name that I have now. So they're both in harmony with each other.
So some of our listeners won't know what soul song means. How could you describe that in simple ways that people will understand?
Yeah, I read a book earlier in 2015 by Dr. Shah, and he does a lot of work with soul songs, and he channels soul songs through the work that he does, and he does lots of healing work with the sound from the songs. And after reading that book, I just really knew in my heart that I really wanted to know what my soul song was. And I put out a big prayer, and the next morning I got these sounds that were coming through. And I'm not a musical person. I haven't been trained in music at all. But I've always loved the singing. And I wrote the sounds down, and then I started singing them, and I'm going, oh my goodness, this is my soul song. I just knew it. And then I thought, I wonder what this means, because that's just the part of me that,
logically wants to know.
Yeah, and it meant, it was the love in my heart. And what it meant was, I love all of me was the first line, and I was guided by Spirit to sing that 3 times. And then all is one 3 times, and God, God, God. So it's very simple, and it's something that, I sing on a regular basis to calm my being and to send love out to the world through my heart and the singing.
Fabulous. So when I met you, and it was only last year, Ahhleeyah, I immediately resonated with your name. And in fact, you were the only person I resonated with that night. And there was something about that sound of that name and perhaps the underlying soul essence of your name that I related to. And what that's encouraged me to do since is to claim my own soul name as well. And I got it probably 3 years ago. I heard it in a quiet space, and I heard out of nowhere Janelles, and I didn't really know what that was. I just knew it was a sound that resonated with me well. And a bit like you, I went, wow, I wonder what this means, And as I have, Googled and asked Spirit and heard it again, it's very much the mother goddess energy. And I love that because it so relates to who I am. It's the matriarch, it's the wise woman, it's the crone, it's the life-giving mother, and I'm loving that. I haven't taken it on as my own as you have, in the sense of changing my name, but I'm loving the energy of that name. So thank you for that impetus, really. And it just reminds me, I've done numbers of women's groups as you have, and one of the activities that I did several times with women was to get very clear on many of the names that we've been called in our lifetime, whether that be our first name, last name, maiden name, nickname, bullying names, sexual names, whatever's been thrown at us, or even, named upon us. So I don't want to say cursed upon us, but those names we've assumed and what we no longer want, what no longer fits us and what no longer serves us. So tell us more about that drumming ritual that could help women who want to reclaim a new name or want to toss off that old energy of name. Tell us more about the drumming ritual, or any other rituals that you know of that could be helpful in doing that.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the second part of the name, which is Grace. And Yeah, Ahhleeyah Grace. So the name Ahhleeyah Grace itself is graceful, means graceful ascension. So I really resonate with that, and I feel that why I took on the name so soon was because it's to help me with my growth, and as we go in this interview is talking about being separated from my kids, and it's really helped me to really every day connect with my kids through my name. So when I hear my name, I connect with my children, and that really helps me walk my walk.
Oh, as you say it. I get it. I get it.
I just wanted to share that piece with you, and also the name Grace. And I'll go on to talk about it, but there is a connection with one of my daughters and that name. So hopefully we have time to talk about it today. But yeah, it helps me to because it's a spiritual daughter that I have. So I can't actually physically see her or connect with her, but through my name, I'm always reminded that she's there with me.
So why don't we go there straight away? Tell us about who is in your family.
Yes, I've got 3 children. So Baden is 12, and he's my eldest boy. And then I've got a daughter named Janelles, and she's 8. And she's a beautiful, my beautiful little girl. And I've also got another child that's my spiritual child, and she was birthed the same time as Baden, but she was birthed through spirit. But I always knew that she was there because when I was carrying Baden, I always thought I was carrying twins. And then when I gave birth, I actually had physically a double placenta.
Wow. And
I sort of knew at that time that there was something going on, but I wasn't aware of what was happening at that point in time.
And what did the medical fraternity say in that moment? What was their...
Well, they asked me whether I wanted to keep it, and my mother said yes, I want to keep it. But my health deteriorated quite rapidly after the birth, when my blood pressure went up, continued to go up, and I had to be put into ICU, and I had separation from my son at that point because of my health. And the placenta it did get lost in the process. And then when I got home with the newborn and I was still recovering, it just got messed. So yeah, but I do look back on that time and I see that placenta, which is the blueprint of us, that it's really important to actually honour the placenta and to give it back to Mother Earth. So I know that now, and I'd love to pass that information on to new mums, that it's so important to do the honouring and the grounding of our children and the offering back to Mother Earth. And
yeah, I was blessed because I knew that with my own birthing of my own kids. You know, I've got 6 and I took on 3 and then birthed 3 beautiful ones as well. And thankfully, I'm really blessed that I knew of that practice that the Maori people do as well, of course. So there they are. But they're up at an old section of mine. Part of me regrets planting them there and then in that place where I no longer am. Personally, I would now choose to have a pot plant where I can take them with me. Saying that, you know, you and I know that in spirit we can connect wherever.
You're always connected with that land.
Absolutely.
And also we talked about ritual. When I did the drumming of my name into being, and I also became aware of my spiritual child, so it all seemed to happen at a similar time. And I connected with her name, and her name is Magdalena Grace. So you know, through my name I also connect with her. And because I missed the opportunity of planting the physical placenta, I actually learnt through a woman that connects with the Indigenous people that it's important that you can do it as a ritual energetically.
Sure.
So I actually did a ritual for the placenta of all my children and myself and my family, through a very simple ritual with the candle and saying a prayer and physically seeing the placentas rise out of the flames and being planted in the earth.
Beautiful. Actually, that's helpful. That dovetails into a conversation I had yesterday with a woman who lost a baby as she birthed this baby, so stillborn. And at the time, she didn't name her baby. And it was only some time later that she chose to name it in ceremony. And, you know, powerful. Powerful. So, you know, you and I know women out there who have lost children through miscarriage, through stillbirth, through something of your experience, perhaps even through abortion, as I think here. Yeah. And for those who carry that potential grief, what is your wisdom to them about that child, that baby, and how they can connect or relate to that baby now?
I do it. I've developed a new ritual, and it came through to me last year, of holding. And you can do it with anyone, not just a child, but with the child that you lost, or you felt that you lost, that you can actually energetically hold that child. And also it's really healing to feel the energy of the energy of Mother Earth coming up through your womb, through your heart center, through the breast, and to feed that child energetically, and the healing that can happen for you and your child, or the child, or it could be a person. It doesn't need to be just a child, but a family member, that you can be reconnected with them and heal.
Yeah.
And
beautiful. And as you said that, I was actually imagining and visualizing that for myself. And it's interesting, my breast tingled. It's like that old feeling of, you know, the letdown when we had our babes and we were breastfeeding our babies. And for me, thank you for this, because it reminds me of my own experience of motherhood. And I was such a superwoman at the time I had my babies. And I had incredible mastitis, you know, and I just kept super powering on. I can do this. And I was in incredible pain for months on end with all of my babes. And, you know, there's a certain amount of grief around that for me as well, that I didn't honor and mother myself enough as that was occurring. So thank you for that reminder. So
and also,
sorry, keep going.
And also with the energetic hold, you can actually hold yourself as a baby, and to nourish, feed yourself, and to offer that self-love and healing for your own inner child and your own babe. Because I think a lot that we're going through now is really healing our own inner self and anchoring that self-love, and that when we can heal our own inner child, that all relationships heal from there, and that simple holding and breastfeeding our own energetic babe can be really so powerful and healing for our own selves as well.
So let's get on to mothering then, because we're already on there. For you, what is a good mother? Because we often hear about bad mothers, and this is all very subjective, of course, but just what resonates with you right in this moment as I ask that question. What is a good mother?
A good mother is one that loves and trusts herself, and is a role model for her children. And when we love ourselves, and that radiates out to our children, because our children don't often listen to what we say.
Exactly.
But they feel what we feel, and when we can feel and allow the love to flow through us, then that, you know, that's the greatest gift that we can offer our children.
And you were talking about the connection with our kids, and, you know, before, and it just reminds me of the umbilical cord, that we never lose that umbilical cord, do we? And they sense and feel, like you say, our own degree of self-love or self-compassion, or they may not. They notice it.
So I guess that a good mother, or, you know, is trusts and respects herself fully.
And what does that look like for you, Ahhleeyah? Trust and respect for yourself. Tell us about that journey of you and motherhood. And I know a little of you and a little of your experience, not a lot.
Yeah, well, I guess my journey of motherhood was, it was having my child, and pretty traumatic circumstances, and really finding the gift that was in that. We both came out alive, which was really cool. And so celebrating, you know, the gift of life in each moment. I guess when I was going through what I went through, it was, it was pretty isolating because I was a farmer's wife, you know, living on the farm and a dairy farm. So my husband at the time was really busy working and providing for the family. But at the same time, you know, I was still recovering from the birth, and my son was obviously affected by some of the medication that I had, and also the way I was feeling. So he didn't settle all that well for the first 3 months. So there was a lot of tension, and what followed on soon after was, you know, postnatal depression kicked in really quickly. So I really didn't get a break. It was just.
So what did that depression look and feel like for you? I know it's very individual for different people. If you look back and feel into that.
It came in waves. It was like waves of sadness that would come through. And the way I dealt with it was I just kept busy. It was like this feeling of terror that would come up, and I would just try to outrun it. And yeah, I now look back.
Were you fast enough?
I thought I was pretty swift. And I actually ended up going back to work when my son was 10 months.
Right.
Because I worked in the ag department for 10 years, and then when I had my son, I decided I was going to go teaching. So I thought that would be in more harmony with the kids. And but when you have to drop your son off really early in the morning and you work all day, and then you picking them up at, you know, in the dark, it just didn't make too much sense because we lived 40 minutes away from the school I was working at. So yeah, I learned a lot about you know, what works and what doesn't work, I guess. And I taught for 3 years, and within that time, you know, the depression would come. It came up in waves.
Yeah.
I would ride the waves, and
but getting busy was your modus operandi. It was the way you operated to deal with that at the time. If you look back in hindsight, what would you remind yourself to be or do to help you through that period differently?
You know, talk more about what I really needed, my needs and wants, and really, I guess I was trying to make others happy. And in the process, I made myself miserable. and that feeling of sadness and unfulfillment, I guess, really, you know, it flowed out to my son as well. He felt that as well. And I was so blessed to have another child, and I made the decision that I wasn't going to go back and do that again with when my second one arrived. So I really looked at that as giving me a really graceful exit to teaching. I loved teaching the kids. What went on in the staff room, I wasn't prepared for that. You know, I was a really sensitive person, and I just really didn't get a lot of the stuff that was happening in there. It just didn't resonate.
Bureaucracy, you didn't like that. You loved the teaching aspect and the being and relating to the kids.
I had worked 10 years in a pretty, you know, state government, and there was politics that went on in there, but nothing compared to a school staff room. And I'm not saying it was one school staff room, because I worked in several schools. It was in every staff room. And I actually put out a prayer that I would go back and I would help teachers, because I saw them as, you know, they were just doing the best they could with what they were, you know, the environment they were in. And I knew it wasn't a really healthy environment.
So if you could alter the education system and, well, firstly get to what you believe. Well, so let's start with here. What, in your opinion, do kids need the most right at this moment of time?
A hug, and to be told that they're loved unconditionally, whatever they do. Yeah, and really they just want to feel safe, and they know what they're here to do. They just need a safe environment and encouragement to keep going, and yeah, to be inspired, because I think that's all we really require in life, is to be loved and inspired, and we're off and running.
Great. So to be loved and inspired and given a hug, how do you do that for your own kids? Because I know you're at a distance from your kids right in this moment. So
yes,
how do you do that?
I sing to my kids, and energetically I hug them.
Mm. So just tell our listeners what your situation is now, just to give them some context.
Oh, okay, where my kids are now. Yep. Yeah. So I've been following my heart for probably since 2011, when I decided that I was going to follow my heart no matter what and where it took me. And it keeps on calling me back to New Zealand to do to make different connections, and I really feel that it's actually on a deeper level than a lot of the project work that I'm working on. I'm doing a lot of work now with schools and school teachers, which is interesting that I'm invited to do. But a lot of the work that I feel that I'm called to do here is actually energetic work with the land and connecting with the land, and to sing my song and to hold a space here in New Zealand at the moment. And I'm not sure exactly what that is. It's like a balancing that I'm doing, the masculine and the feminine. Yeah, I'm growing into that.
For you is that you're away from your kids for certain amounts of time, yeah? So I know you went back.
Yeah, I'm away from my kids. I was with them from Christmas until 5 weeks ago. But there is a big, like, I know in my heart that the kids are to be with their dad at the moment and on the farm, and to be in a stable environment, going to school, doing what they love every day, being around the animals and everything like that. And that this part of the time that I'm to be here, seeding the new project work and meeting the people I'm to meet. And I trust that I'm in the right place at the right time doing what I'm to do. And just being really in the moment really helps me to not, I guess, to not miss them so much. But as a mother, it's always there. You can't escape that. But and they're feeling it at the moment. My kids are definitely feeling it at the moment.
So do you have any opposition from women out there that say, how can you do that? How can you honour your own needs first and your own calling, and you got kids back home? I mean, how do you deal with that? I'm sure there's that kind of thinking around.
My biological family, they're basically, not supporting what I'm doing at all, because they can't see the bigger vision that I can see. And they're doing the best that they can from where they are. And I know that, they love my kids, and they don't understand the spiritual path that I'm on. And I can see, what's here and what's coming. And I can't see all the detail, but I know that there is a big plan, and I trust that, and I have faith in that. And a great love and honouring for the path that I'm on, that it's not everyone, it's not going to resonate with everyone, and I know that, and as long as and
I love your solidness around it. I love your conviction around that, and your own, well, it's more a knowingness, that you are following something despite what people may or may not say, and what how your family react. I love that about you.
I don't let it throw me off balance now. I see it as that I'm on the right path. When they come at me, I'm going, oh my goodness, I must be doing the right thing.
Yeah. Hey, so just back, you were talking about how you connect with your children at a distance, because there'll be people out here who are listening to this who may be distanced from their children for whatever reason. They could be working in another environment. They could be separated and not have the access that they're really, really wanting. They could, they I don't know, they could be inside for all we know. They could be distant. So you talked about singing to your kids. What else do you do in terms of connecting with them, even though you're not present with them in the physical environment?
when I am with them, I'm really with them.
Nice.
And I know that my kids, the love language of my kids, you know, as gifts and also quality, you know, that it is quality. Well, for my son, it's physical touch, and my daughter, it is quality time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I honor their love languages as much as I can from a distance.
You and I know those love languages. I'm just trying to think of the guy that wrote the book. It's a fabulous book that I've recommended to so many people out there, in the way that we relate and speak the language of those we love. It's Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman, yes.
Exactly. So
yes.
thank you.
And it's a fabulous book. And there's also one for kids as well.
Exactly. And for teens, because they're a different kettle of fish as well.
Sure are. I'm glad I'm not there yet. But I know in my heart, Janelle, that my kids will be with me very soon. And I think that, you know, it does keep me going. I think if I had known that I was going to be away from my kids this long, I probably wouldn't have been so open to say yes. But we don't know how long things are going to take, and they usually take a lot longer than what we think they're going to take. And I guess, you know, at the moment my kids are feeling it, and I respect them, and I think they're really, the phone conversations at the moment, they just want me there. So, you know, they said, we don't really want to speak to you, Mum, we just want you there. So I get that, and I respect that. But also my journey is really guided. You know, I haven't had a lot of funds for, you know, at this point on my journey. So it's really walking on in faith and trust. And the last time
you and I agree, darling.
Because I was called to come to New Zealand, and you know, my sister gifted me the ticket over, and I'm going, oh my goodness, this is happening so quick. And then when I got there, the other end, you know, I didn't actually know who I was going to stay with or what I was to do. So it really was, you know, growing and strengthening my faith that all would be well. And I ended up staying with 4 different families in New Zealand during that time period, from September until I flew out Christmas Eve in the end. And yeah, it's been an incredible journey spending time with other people's families. And I guess if I can't be with my kids at this time, because my kids are to be with their dad and spend quality time with their dad at the moment, I'm guided and know that that's the highest and the best for them, that I get to hang out with other people's families and kids. And I've learnt so much by being immersed in others, you know, lives. It's been, you know, as a healer, I've been using different techniques and guided intuition in working with the families, and they've just loved it when I've been able to be there for them and give them advice. And also it comes back the other way too. They've helped me so much in healing and growing as a mother. So when I can be with my kids and we do have our home together, then I can hold that big space for them that I know my kids so deserve and will need going forward in their lives. So
fabulous. Hey, on a final note, Ahhleeyah, how do you personally mother yourself? How do you care about you? And we've heard some of that already, yeah? But what are the key things for you?
Yeah, trusting and respecting myself, regardless of whatever situation I'm in. Yeah, honouring my heart and being gentle on me. Singing to myself and having fun. I think having fun is really important. It's a big part of who I am, and celebrating the joy that flows through me, and just having quiet space for me when I really need it, and just taking time for me to be in that quiet space, that stillness, and just being and honouring and loving who I am as I am in this moment. And I guess that's all we can really do is to take time for ourselves and then when we do that, we are a role model for others. And I think that is a beautiful gift to humanity when we can be true to our own heart.
Ahhleeyah, thank you so much. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Ahhleeyah Grace, thank you so much for your calmness of presence. That's what I want to say. You have such a beautiful, calm, clear, and soulful presence. So thank you for that, and that beautiful wisdom that you've given mothers out there who may be going, who may now just be feeling a little bit more at ease, more at peace.
And it's always good to go and sit under a tree and get reconnected, and just see those roots going down, and because when you are going like this, you want, just if you can't be near a tree, just envisage your favorite tree and just be with that tree, and it can just really ground you. And once you're grounded, you can achieve anything.
Take on the world. Thank you so much, Ahhleeyah. We'll talk soon.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Janelle. Bye for now.